Hey everyone, I have been looking forward to this video for several weeks now. I wanted to get somebody on from Fresno that can highlight July data because I've been sensing it's crazy. I've been looking at the market for 31 days. I was making offers early in the month, getting outbid by everybody. And I'm like, there is something strange going on. So nice enough to get Benny Clay from the Clayson Group on, and we are going to go through July data. So how you doing, Benny?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you are my go-to guy for stats. So whether you like it or not, you're always going to be on at the early of the month. So, so before we get into the numbers, I got to tell you as an investor, right? Fresno obviously has been very good to me. I've probably averaged 8 transactions a year for 20 years, maybe even 10. These last 2 or 3 months in the middle of a health crisis have been the most strange and odd that I've ever seen. I've never been outbid by owner occupants so frequently. What is going on?
Oh man, it's just crazy right now. Again, I think it goes back to the supply demand. That's low inventory, high demand. Interest rates are historically low, and it's just causing a crazy atmosphere right now in Fresno and Clovis.
Yeah. So I know you have a bunch of buyers, and your team has a bunch of buyers. You guys are one of the top teams in all of Fresno. Um, I'm just going to assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I have to assume you are representing predominantly owner occupants today, just because the numbers don't make sense as investments. Is that right, or am I off?
Yeah, no, yeah. Mostly, yeah. We do our mostly concentrating on resale right now. We still doing some investment stuff. Jason's actually my partner has done quite a few deals through this COVID, but it's been more stuff that's on probate and stuff like that, and things
Right.
happening that way. Evictions, because evictions are really high right now. But mostly our team right now is concentrating on resale.
Yeah, Jason, in case folks don't know, Jason Pritchard's been on the show many times, probably the number one investor in Fresno. He has a marketing machine to attract off-market deals, again, to follow up on what this channel may look at. But when we talk about the Clayson Group, that is licensed real estate agents, and you're the broker, right? Or broker with Jason. And um, you have a buyer's list. I mean, it's crazy right now. And again, let's just bring up the numbers because I knew they were going to be either bad or good depending on which side of the equation you're on. But these numbers shook me to my core. So let me just bring them up.
Okay.
So I call these unbelievable numbers because again, I expected them to be off the charts, but this was crazy. Let's just go. So here's your first chart. Hopefully you can see that. Can you?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So the red line for me is what I've been feeling. Stuff is going pending in record fashion. And then to go
Yep.
below that and see that sales or solds are almost equal to available is, I've never seen anything like it. And I've been doing it 20 years in Fresno.
Yep, it's crazy. I mean, even since you could see that the number of pendings in April were 614, it's
Mm-hmm.
nearly doubled in July at 1100.
Wow.
So, almost doubled. And I think the main stat here is looking at listings, just the inventory alone
Yeah.
is down 53.6% from the same month last year in July.
Yeah. It's it's going lower. I mean, that's clearly a trend down, right? It
Yeah.
peaked at 1343 in April, which kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Fresno went on lockdown late March, early April,
Yeah. Late March, early April. Yep.
right? So
Last
that,
week of March.
yeah, that
Yep.
makes total sense why April would be higher.
Yep.
But what we are seeing is a steady decline in what is available. Probably April to May was people pulling off, going like, "Hey, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait." But by the time we got to June, I can tell you, in June I must have made 100 offers, and I didn't get a thing.
Wow.
Maybe it was 80 offers, but I was, But the problem with me is I had to bid where the numbers made sense for an investor, and if the property was anywhere clean, I was getting smoked by like 20 or 30 grand. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, Jason just listed a property and had 35 showings in one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ashley, right? That was that property. Ashley Full, right? I think your name.
That was one of them. No, I forget. I think was it Bailey who listed this
Oh,
one?
yeah. I remember that one
It was
too.
just recently, and it just amount of activity is crazy.
Yeah. So again, right, the properties, this is what's going on today. So Jason did a nice remodel. Nothing spectacular. I mean, no disrespect. It was
Yep.
clean. Wasn't
Yep.
spectacular. Clean.
Yep.
I think he listed that one at 229, I think. Right. It was in 93705, as I recall.
Yep.
And I think he said he got 35 showings and like 12 offers, and like 7 of them were over and no contingencies. And it was,
Yeah. When we're dealing with buyers, we're having to get creative with making offers too. It's insane. I mean, it's we haven't seen anything like this in a long time.
well, here, that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because I've been doing this since '02, like '03, I was starting to get busy. And I remember '06 being busy, but it's different than today. And people need to hear this. In '06, most of my competition, like for offers, was from other investors. So what that means is, for the most part, we all had the same financing, right? So all of our cost of capital was roughly the same. So we were all bidding numbers that made sense because we all wanted cash flow. What is happening today is the investors are getting smoked by 50 grand, because an owner occupant A comes in with less, right? 3.5%, 5% down, FHA
Right.
backed or whatever. And oh, by the way, because they can get an interest rate in the 2s,
Correct.
where my investors are in the 4s and I personally am in the 6s, I can't compete. It's just, I just can't compete. Oh, it's not even, it's not tough. It's impossible. It might have been tough in May. In July, it's impossible.
Oh man. But I mean, you've been around a lot longer than I have. Tell me, I mean, where do you? I mean, we're in a weird situation here. Do you see a turn coming? I mean,
it is 100%. Well, there's two things going on that is combining to be this like if you're an owner of real estate in Fresno today, you're smiling every day, because I can feel my net worth increasing every day, right? It's just a magical thing. But A is supply. There's clearly a supply problem. And I don't see that going away, because you only build supply one of 3 ways. Either builders build more, right? Which they're doing a little bit of, but they're building at the 400 level, right?
right,
400K level, right? Which is not first time buyer stuff for the most part.
right,
You have owners who decide they want to cash out. Either they want to go bigger, right? They go from a first time home to a golf course home, or they move out of state, right? They want to cash in.
right,
Or 3, you get some kind of life event where you have to sell, right? The traditional motivated seller, right? Foreclosure, short sale, death, divorce, whatever. And that last one is really on delay right now with forbearance and all of that.
right.
So number 1's not happening. Builders in Fresno were smoked in the last crash, so they're going to be very cautious. There's not a lot of people upgrading today. So it's all about that number 3. And I don't see that coming around till next year, which, oh, by the way, I think Fresno could be 10 or 15% higher by January, like in value. And thus there won't be any short sales. Even if you get in trouble, if prices go up, you can sell your place and you actually end up with a little money in the bank.
From underneath it. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
So I don't see pain coming to Fresno. And in fact, I truly believe you're going to start selling more $1 million homes, because you're going to get a fair amount of Silicon Valley money moving there full time. I knew there was somebody that in my kind of second layer network said they sold his place in San Francisco and bought a 7-figure place in Clovis. I think you're going to get more of those people too, because his company's saying you can work from home. So he's like, oh, I'm out of San Francisco. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, COVID just kind of shortcut that whole thing of working at home and, real quick.
Yeah, it's funny because I always thought my vision was I'm going to buy as much as I can in Fresno. This is like 2010. I'm going to buy as much as I can, because eventually that high-speed train is going to make the Bay Area and Fresno 45 minutes. Right? That was always my dream. And then, of course, that doesn't go anywhere. But now we don't even need the train, because nobody has to go anywhere. I could just live in Fresno and go to the office like once a month. No big deal.
And Zoom all my meetings.
Exactly. So I see Fresno. I see you should go back and look at Fresno values in 04, 05, and 06. They were all 20% plus, like year after year. And I think that's coming again. But it's hard for me to add more stuff because all these owner occupants just have cheap money. So
Yeah, yeah, interest rates are historically low. I think that's what's driving this even more so than not too.
yeah, I'm curious when you look at your buyer mix, what is the average age? Are they like in their 30s and 40s?
It's all over the board. I'm gonna be honest with you. We've got people that are leaving California because of COVID that are older, just want to get out of here. They're just tired and sick of
Yeah.
it. I have a younger couple that's my age. It's actually really good friends of mine. They're moving to Washington, not to get out of California, but just because he's an airline pilot and he's moving to Washington. We've got a lot of first-time home buyers we're dealing with that are younger, in the 30s or younger, that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And we're even doing people trying to upgrade right now because they're cashing out because prices are up right now.
Mhm.
They can get a loan under 3% for their next house, so they're getting cheap. Even
Oh,
though
yeah.
the prices are higher, their payments are lower because the interest rate is lower. So
Wow.
they're trying to upgrade. So we're getting a mix of it all right now.
It's an amazing. And who would have guessed this 3 months ago? I would have
Yeah,
never guessed.
I thought the opposite was going to happen. To be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, let's go. We got two more graphs to look at.
Okay.
So this month of inventory, if this doesn't tell you just how hot the market is, I can't remember ever in my 20 years seeing 1 month supply.
Yeah, so you've been doing this a lot longer than me. This just coming down to 1 month for what Jason and I have seen, because we've been we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years. So this is all new to us, seeing this 1 month of inventory and
Yeah.
looking at people like you for advice and seeing what your guys' thoughts are on this kind of thing.
It's unheard of. I mean, the only answer, I mean, this chart alone is just more proof positive that prices are going to go up.
I agree.
Because again, the only thing you could do is you can unlock some supply by prices rising and somebody selling their stuff. I mean, the big question is, when do guys like Jason or I, who have, dozens and houses, finally have enough and sell, right? I mean, that's
Right.
one way to unlock, right?
We were talking about that today. He goes, man, I'm thinking about selling all my stuff just to have the money to cash out right now of what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, I texted him, I messaged, whatever. He and I did communicate last night about that. And I told him, watch the affordability index. Because one thing, in my story is I nailed the 06 or 07 crash. I got out of the houses within 6 months of the peak. So watch the affordability index. I looked it up yesterday in Fresno. Nobody has July data yet. They have June data. It's still 43. So again, it goes from 1 to 100. And I don't get nervous until it's a 20. So prices could still go up almost 50%, assuming flat interest rates, and we're good. But yeah, I mean, if prices go from 260 to 380 or whatever it is, yeah, maybe I sell. I don't know. It's this 1 month supply is, and here's the deal. When my history says when real estate gets hot, it gets hotter. I think we've gone from warm to hot. I think the next step is hot to hotter. Because once all the press goes and talks about values in July were up 4.9%, and then this, and then just the prices just, I mean, that's something I've seen in real estate. And the same thing works on the downside, but right now we are clearly on the upside, and
Right.
I think prices are going to go up.
And what do you think? I don't see interest rates going up anytime soon. Do you?
No, no, they're not going up for 3 years minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Then here's the chart that this one, I actually asked you, I had to double check the numbers because this one shocked me. So the red line there, folks, is closed transactions, and it's the median number, right? So that's 339,000 for the median home price in
That is correct.
Fresno County. That is unbelievable.
Yes. So it went up just from March. So March was 298,000.
Yeah.
So just from March, it's up, 10%, 10.5% or whatever.
Right.
It's crazy.
That's double digits. And you annualize that, that's 35% or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just, like I said, I've never seen anything like this. You've experienced the last market I never got to. So, I mean, this is just my eyes are just going like this. Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it'll be interesting. Let's talk about it a little bit, because I remember 04, 05, and 06. So that 24-month period, Fresno County was the number one, what do they call it, MSA for price appreciation. both years were 20 some odd percent. And now we both know that in hindsight, some of that was fake because of the bad lending.
Right.
Now that's what's very different today. And I want people to hear me. That last 20% was all garbage. It should have never happened because of bad lending, and it was investors. So when prices rolled over, all the investors ran away, which caused this downward cycle, right? Now
Right.
we're actually having owner occupants who have real loans. Nobody has a teaser rate. Nobody is planning on appreciation to refi out. They're all getting 30-year money with a 2 on it or even a 3 on it.
Yep.
It's a very different lending world. So where I was going with this is I saw prices. I mean, Norris Drive, I'm sure you've looked it up. It's 1818 Norris Drive
Always
East.
talk about that one.
Yeah, it goes from 107 to 264 in 3 years.
That's crazy. That is insane.
So I think we're in that kind of world again, right? If you can get a home owner occupied for 200, who's to say it's not 300 in 18 months?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Again, this is really nuts, and it's a exciting, different market. It's changed drastically, and it keeps changing drastically. So, listening to people like you who've been around a long time and listening to the advice because you've been through a couple cycles, it's just it's a great learning experience, especially for me and my team.
Yeah, what I would tell people today is if you're an owner occupant, this is going to be a great time. What you have at your benefit is low down payment and record low interest rates. If
Right.
you're a flipper and you're flipping to quality like Jason, right? Clean, pass FHA, all of that stuff. This could be the best 6 or 9 months ever to do that. I'm not traditionally a pro flipper guy because I think it's like if you find a good deal, keep it. But I
Right.
think this next 6 to 9 months are going to be the best time to flip in Fresno because cash flow doesn't matter, right? You're flipping to an end buyer, which is an owner occupant. So if you can hold the cost of capital for 6 or 9 months, we clearly have a pool of buyers.
Not only that, if you're a flipper right now in this 6 to 9 months that you're talking about, you run your ARV or what you think you could sell it for, and it's probably going to be higher than that.
Exactly.
It's waiting for it to sell, so you're actually going to make more money.
Yeah, exactly. You hold the house empty for a month and you win.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's crazy, right? That's nuts.
Oh, it's crazy. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the green line because that shook me a little bit. So the green line is available inventory or active listings, right?
Yeah, it's active listings and what their average listing price is versus the red line, which is the average sold price. And it's a little misleading. And the only reason I think it's like that, and I don't know this to be exact because I can't pull up every single 462 homes and do whatever, but I would guess it's the luxury market. The higher listings, they usually never sell for the listed price. They always usually sell under. So that's why you see that gap. Yeah. Because everything that's median, below, or right even above the median is selling over asking right now. So just so you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. So I want to go to that last comment. Everything at the median and below is going over asking. And I want to make sure I have this right. The median is 339.
Yep.
That just hurts my head. I'm used to 250, 260.
Yeah.
That's just old information. It's just wrong. It's now 340.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the high end just because the number stands out. Fresno today probably has probably 80 listings over $1 million.
I'd have to check. I don't know that stat off the top of my head.
It's probably pretty close.
That sounds pretty close.
Yeah. And of the 80, probably 10 or 12 are over $2 million.
Yes, very, very little.
Few.
2 million. Yeah, 2 million's like a $20-30 million listing in San Francisco or LA.
Yeah. So I mean, they happen, but they're rare. They're either really large parcels or they're 10,000 square foot estates.
Correct.
But Fresno has a lot of $1 million homes, but not a lot of $2 million homes.
That is accurate.
That's where I was going with that.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's why you get that big gap, right? Because if you come down 50 or 60K, it kind of skews, right? Available versus sale.
Yep.
Is it last time we spoke and we broke down 728, 711, and 02? 711 was our example of the high end market. Are you still a little bit slower in the high end kind of jumbo market, or is that market even on fire now?
No, it's slowing down. It's definitely slowing down. I would say, everything over $1 million is slowing down, but anything that's, even in the 700-800, if it's nice, it's getting multiple offers. It's crazy, but anything over that is typically slow unless unless it's just turnkey, absolutely remodeled to the nines, then it goes in the first week. But there's just really, and to be honest with you, in Fresno, there's not too many buyers in that $1 million
Yeah.
bracket. You know, the
Yeah.
buyer pool is really, 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 really small.
Yeah. I'm curious. Something else I was curious about, just going back to my friend who bought that $1 million pad cash, just crazy. Do you have a lot of out of area, like Silicon Valley types moving to Fresno in your buyers list, or not yet?
It's starting. Yes, it's
I think
starting
it's
to
coming.
happen. And I was on a Zoom call yesterday because we're part of the Dave Ramsey affiliate, and there was an agent from San Francisco, and
Mm.
she's like, even up there, they're experiencing things going over market, so it's driving over market price. I mean, they're selling over the listing price up there, and the prices are just going crazy up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what that's doing is that driving people out of there and coming here,
Yeah.
and they can afford a lot bigger house and for a lot less money. And so, we're seeing that trend starting to happen.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought that up is because if you are in the Bay Area and you're looking for a gorgeous estate or property in Fresno, I want you to look up Benny. He's nice enough to give us a lot of help here. And here's Benny's contact details. I'll give you his phone number just in case you're listening to this on the podcast. It's 559-940-0606. And it's Benny, Bennie, at theclaysongroup.com. Again, Benny, I want to thank you for being a part of this. Any kind of closing thoughts? What do you see happening in the rest of the year?
I see it continue going on, like you said. I think this will continue to go on. And, as far as our team goes, we're concentrating on listings, trying to get as many listings as we can right now. And we're trying to concentrate on locking up as many investments as we can to flip. Because like you said, the flipping market side of things is kind of strong right now because prices keep going up. So that's kind of what we're concentrating on.
Well, I think that's why the Clayson Group is the best in the business. It's because you're focusing on what you can control and what's hot. Get on the phones, beat up the phones, get listings. Because if anything's proven itself the last 2 months, if you get a listing, you'll get it sold.
That's
so
right.
you should be having your team, which I know you are, sitting on the phone 2-4 hours a day, whatever it is. And then, go get that off-market inventory, clean it up to it doesn't have to be an outstanding flip. Like in 2017, it had to be a dialed in flip, like top notch.
Exactly.
Today, it's just like, dude, clean, pass inspection, we're good.
That's it.
And oh, by the way, that just generates more profit because you don't have to spend that extra $10K.
We're maximizing our profit a little bit more right now. You're right.
That is awesome. So Benny, I want to wish you and Jason and the entire Clayson Group tons of success. I want to thank you for being my go-to guy for stats on Fresno. And I wish you guys nothing but luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. Always a pleasure. And we always look up to you and always love the advice you give us.
All righty, buddy. Take care of yourself. Thanks.
All right, man. You too.
All right.